Welcome back. Today, the WTO ruled against the United States and said that its tariffs on China were illegal and that the Chinese, in theory, could, of course, retaliate. However, the US is likely to appeal, which will go nowhere because the appellate body isn't functioning properly because Washington hasn't nominated members to it. And there you have the problems of the WTO in one case to put. The United States not willing to play part, the WTO in a mess. Can a new Deputy Director, can a new Secretary General do something about it? Amina Mohammed is Kenya's candidate to lead the organisation. She's currently the UN Deputy Secretary General. She joins me now. Good to see you, ma'am. Today's announcement by the WTO disputes panel. This is emblematic of the problem. Comes up with a ruling, nothing will ever happen with it. It'll be kicked down the road. 10 years down the road, something or nothing will take place and everybody will have forgotten what it's about. Why are you the right person to put the WTO back on the tracks?
Well, Richard, first I have to correct you. I am not the Assistant Secretary General of the UN. I'm actually a minister in the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta in Kenya. I'm the Minister for Sports, Culture and Heritage. And yes, I do want this job because I know that I can make a contribution. I have been involved in trade most of my professional life and at the most critical levels of trade that you can imagine. For most of my career, I have worked either with the WTO, at the WTO, or for the WTO at ministerial conferences. I have seen firsthand as Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Trade of my country what trade can do for ordinary people. And I know that you too have seen that it has created millions of jobs, that it has lifted thousands, millions, in fact, out of poverty. It has transformed lives and circumstances in both rich and poor countries. It has stabilized and expanded the global system. And
Minister,
yes, it has.
Minister.
Yes.
First of all, I take full responsibility for that for that shortfall in your title. That's my fault. But on the WTO, it's going nowhere. Yes, I know there was an agreement in 2015 which you helped broker, but the reality is. The reality is the last few years have shown the impotence of the WTO.
Well, you know, Richard, look, there's absolutely no doubt anymore that the WTO is in dire need of reform. It's actually ailing, and it needs a safe, experienced, trusted pair of hands that is committed to reforms, that has delivered concrete results for the multilateral system, not just on one occasion, not on two, but on many occasions. That's what we need today. It needs really serious conversations. It needs massive political will, a clear sense of purpose. If we have those ingredients in one place, and a Director General who's energetic, who's passionate about the multilateral trading system, who can turn it into a robust, dynamic, and active place once more, the problems will start to dissipate.
Why can you look? You're the front runner. You and Ngozi from you are the front runners in all of this, and the feeling is that it's highly likely that China will back one of the African candidates. But that just merely means, you know, it's one continent's turn versus the other. It doesn't address why you. What will you bring to this table that the other candidates don't bring?
I will bring my political experience. I will bring my diplomatic skills. I will bring my track record of concrete delivery of results for the WTO and its membership. And I will bring my negotiating skills, my institutional expertise. Richard, I'll bring everything that is required to ensure that this system actually begins to work as it should, effective, efficient, it should be fair, it will be equitable, and it will serve all its members and ensure that the benefits of a multilateral trading system accrue to every one of them.
And I've done that. Do you fear that the whole process is? Do you fear that the whole process is just going to get bogged up because really no decision can be taken properly until after the presidential election? They're going to keep forcing this down.
I don't believe that to be true. I think that there's a process that's in place right now, and I am convinced that that process will run its course, and that we'll have results at the end of the process, and we'll actually have members. They always rise to the occasion. They're wise enough to choose the right candidate for this job. The WTO needs reforms. It needs reforms in its negotiating
Right.
pillar. It also needs reforms in its dispute settlement machinery. You've just mentioned, the case that the panel has ruled on now. That, of course, I cannot comment on, because the job that I'm looking for is Director General of the WTO, and the Director General does not comment on specific cases. But the WTO definitely needs a consensus builder,
Right.
a bridge builder, one who can bring members together to engage, find commonalities, settle their differences, move the process forward, so that it can help recover. It can help the globe recover
Minister,
from the effects of the pandemic.
Minister, thank you. We wish you luck in your endeavours, and should you be successful, I promise you one of two things. You're always welcome here on Equestrian's Business, and we will get your title right every time. Can't say fairer than that. Good to see you, as always, Minister.
Richard, I hope that... Richard, if I get selected, I hope that you'll come to Geneva.
If you get selected, I'll come to Geneva. I think I've just made a bargain there. Look, she said she was a negotiator. She appears to have bargained me to Geneva.